If you asked me back in August if I thought LSU was in trouble, I would have told you no. Sure, I've never been a fan of Brian Kelly, but I figured the university as a whole was stable enough to survive the season mostly unscathed regardless of result. I also figured LSU was good enough to make the playoffs as an at-large or just barely miss out on it because of how difficult it is to win in the Southeastern Conference. After all, it's LSU, one of the top programs in all of college football. Not just because of the budget of the athletic department, but its history with national championships. Nick Saban in 2003, Les Miles in 2007, and most recently, Ed Orgeron in 2019. However, it appears that LSU has recently become a ticking time bomb, and it looks like that bomb finally went off, both on the field and off the field. LSU is a fucking mess, and there is a lot more to this than whatever the hell one coach brought with him. The program, once a jewel in the SEC's crown, has become tarnished over the last few years and is now completely rotten. Let's take a step back real quick and see where this nightmare began for the Bayou Bungles and begin this autopsy in earnest. Let's go back to 2020.
Of emergency across the nation as a number of coronavirus cases soars above 3,000.
Not that. Just before that. LSU had just won a national championship under head coach Ed Orgeron. Frankly, it was one of the greatest football teams ever assembled, absolutely loaded with future NFL stars. On defense, there were a few names you might remember, like Derek Stingley Jr., Patrick Queen, and Grant Delpit. But the offense was where the firepower truly was. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and the 2019 Heisman quarterback, Joe Burrow. You take one look at that, and it's no shocker to anybody to see that they smoked Clemson 42-25 in the national championship. It was an overpowering and dominant team that will go down as one of the greatest in college football history. And then the world went to hell. COVID wrecked everyone in some shape or form, and it's no doubt it did a ton of damage to LSU. The athletic department as a whole was slapped with a massive $81 million deficit by the time the pandemic had cleared up. The football team itself was already bracing to take a step back after the title run as players like Joe Burrow went off to the NFL. But COVID allowed other stars the opportunity to opt out like Jamar Chase did. You look solely at these factors and these factors only. LSU going 5-5 in the shortened 2020 campaign was somewhat understandable, if not a bit disappointing, but in general, most outsiders saw it as a forgivable step back considering all the circumstances. So why was Ed Orgeron now on the hot seat 1 year after winning it all? Well, let's start by asking Scott Woodward. Texas A&M fans hear the name Scott Woodward and immediately spit in disgust. Dude isn't even a college football guy originally. He got his start working as a political consultant at a PR firm in Baton Rouge before working for his alma mater, LSU, as a government liaison in the early 2000s. From there, he worked his way through the ranks and eventually got hired as the athletic director for the University of Washington in 2008, winning several national championships in various sports. From there, he was hired by Texas A&M in 2016 and became Satan incarnate to A&M fans. He was the guy responsible for burning down the A&M football program after bringing in Jimbo Fisher as their new coach. In 2019, he left A&M to come home to LSU, where he then fucked over A&M by proxy by trying to lure Jimbo Fisher over to the purple and gold, which baited A&M to give Jimbo the dumbest contract extension in college football history and eventually the biggest buyout of all time. Either way, when he arrived at LSU, Woodward saw the Orgeron regime as a volatile mess and that it needed to be placed under his direct control. To be fair to Woodward, the Orgeron staff at LSU was indeed a complete mess after the national title. You could say this was because COVID fucked them and the national title hangover dragged them down, but a lot more shit was going on off the field that brought the team down more than a world-ending pandemic. Coach O was having his own problems at home to start with, including a divorce from his longtime wife 6 weeks after the national title win. Not to mention the embarrassing pictures and stories circulating all over the internet of him fucking around with various women soon after. He also had the infamous interview on Fox News, where he voiced his support for Donald Trump and his hesitation to support his players in the Black Lives Matter protests on LSU campus, which poisoned morale in the locker room. Then you add a massive Title IX lawsuit against the university, as well as a separate lawsuit against Coach Orgeron, claiming he and the university covered up incidents of sexual assault. To be clear, the Title IX suit mostly involved players and staff under the Les Miles regime, and the Hush Report, which was the final report to come from the Title IX investigation, pretty much backed up Orgeron's story that he had really no knowledge of any of this. Regardless, this was still a massive black eye on the program. The fallout from all of this resulted in Coach O beginning to mentally drift away from the program, and the results on the field showed as much. You see, LSU lost more than the focus of their head coach. They also lost key assistant coaches after the national title run. Now, it's a normal part of the college football offseason to lose assistants to other programs, but Dave Aranda leaving the defensive coordinator role to take the head coaching job at Baylor definitely hurt, as he was the main man who built it into an unstoppable force. Coach O probably had some people in mind that he could have replaced him with, but Scott Woodward had other ideas, whereas Orgeron was a good old Cajun country boy, fiercely loyal to those who mentor him and LSU as a whole. Woodward will always be a fucking politician at heart, and will always be looking for the next big name to add to the laundry list of coaches he's worked with. Going back to his days at Washington, when he convinced legendary Boise State coach Chris Peterson to move to Seattle, to then Jimbo Fisher sailing across the Gulf of Mexico from Florida State to Texas A&M. Hell, even Kim Mulkey, the legendary Baylor women's basketball coach, he was able to convince to come to LSU. The bastard can talk, and thanks to LSU's deep-ass pockets, he had the funds to buy any coach he pretty much wanted. With everything going on, both on and off the field, he stepped in and began to meddle with the football program directly, something athletic directors normally don't do since they have more responsibilities than just football. You want to place Dave Aranda with a splashy hire? How about Bo fucking Pelini?
Well, what do you think? What kind of question's that?
Yeah, he was good, like a decade ago. Recently, he was spotted in Youngstown. But don't you remember? He won the 2007 BCS national title as a coordinator under Les Miles. He can clearly lead the Tigers back to glory, since this is what Woodward wants, and Coach O was too distracted to properly vet Pelini as well. Fuck it. Just throw him $2.3 million, and Coach O has his new man on defense. As expected, this turned out very well. I'm just kidding, it backfired massively as LSU paraded the worst defense in the SEC in 2020, despite said defense being filled with preseason All-Americans. Bo Pelini packed his shit and fucked off by December. After that debacle, the meddling continued from Woodward and the pressure rose. One season removed from a national title, and Orgeron's seat was hotter than a crawfish boil. That could have changed in 2021 if he had just won 9 or 10 games. Hell, I think 8 would have saved him too. But he didn't even come close. 6-6 was the best that the Tigers could do. And that was another season-long parade of embarrassments. From finding new ways to grasp defeat from the jaws of victory, to more embarrassing stories about Coach O off the field, to the plethora of injuries and other issues with roster mentality. It was a shit show. And Scott Woodward seemingly ended the shit show by firing Orgeron. Good old Scott saw this as an opportunity to clean house and revamp the Tigers. So he took his charms as a politician and went to get the best name he could possibly buy. Brian fucking Kelly. Coach Kelly had just gotten done running in circles at Notre Dame for over a decade. One national title appearance? Yeah, sure, that would be impressive if it wasn't nearly a decade ago, and if he hadn't been nuked from orbit by Alabama. But hey, look, his record at Notre Dame. He is the winningest coach in program history after all. Hell, they even made the playoffs twice with Coach Kelly at the helm. What's that? They got blown out by Alabama and Clemson? Right. But hey, Coach Kelly didn't really do anything wrong at Notre Dame. It was all Notre Dame's fault. He bitched about how Notre Dame constantly pushed back on his reasonable requests to get more resources for the football team, despite already being head coach of Notre fucking Dame, where football is only second in importance to God himself. That was just unacceptable in his eyes. Everyone knows to win national titles, you need blank checks and blind eyes from the university. He definitely didn't just leave because LSU offered his ass $95 million to go coach for an SEC powerhouse with one of the most fertile recruiting grounds in the country. What in the hell makes you think he would do that? What does Brian Kelly do with this opportunity? Does he embrace the deep-rooted culture of Louisiana and become one with the Bayou? Hell no. He was encouraged by Scott Woodward to tear it all down to bedrock, turning over dozens of positions, including beloved strength coach Tommy Moffitt, who was there for all three of LSU's national titles since 2003. He moved fast and broke shit, just like he did with Notre Dame, and Woodward was all too happy to give him whatever the hell he wanted. The purge with the staff and the roster would culminate in 2023, with a team loaded with stars like Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, Harold Perkins, and of course, Heisman-winning quarterback Jaden Daniels. A lineup that had national title potential written all over them, just like they were back in 2019. The results? 10 wins, 3 losses, and a ReliaQuest Bowl. Yep, that's it. Turns out, having a Heisman quarterback doesn't offset having a shit defense, which Brian Kelly quickly blamed on defensive coordinator Brian House and fired him into oblivion alongside 3 other defensive assistants. Clearly, it wasn't his fault. It was always someone else's. After all, he wasn't just the coach, but CEO of Brian Kelly LLC, sitting back on the beach or at his fancy fucking house drinking wine while having his assistants and coordinators do all the grunt work with NIL and recruiting. Need a defensive coordinator? How about Blake Baker from Mizzou? Just make him the highest paid assistant coach in FBS and get to work. Why not promote Joe Sloan to become the co-offensive coordinator with the defense all fixed up now? With Coach Kelly making these upgrades, the 2024 Tigers are going to have the worst rushing offense in the SEC again. And the defense didn't improve either. Fuck. But you know what? At least he's fitting in with the environment of LSU. He's been here a couple years now. While I'm sure most thought of him as just some Yankee carpetbagger when he arrived, he has fully embraced the traditions and culture of LSU.
I'm here with my family. And what the f*** was that?
Oh yeah, he kind of fucked that one up from day one, didn't he? Well, who cares about the old culture of LSU? What did that ever bring you? A national title in 2019? That was ages ago in college football years. Coach Kelly will foster a better culture than anything that ogre Ed Orgeron could ever create. It all starts with the players. After all, it's a goddamn family, huh? How about we make the head coach be more open and engaging with his players and make a real effort to be there for them? Or we can rely on the assistants to do all the connecting alongside their other duties, while BK hangs out in the coach's office with Scott Woodward all day long. Hey, it worked in Notre Dame, right? What do you mean the players hate his ass now and never see him around in the building? I'm sure he has a bunch of players that he knows on a first-name basis. Oh shit, wait a minute, he doesn't? Well, he still talks to them at least. Hell, when someone wants to transfer after getting fed up with his bullshit, he would have sit-down meetings with them to try and talk some sense into them before they left. Maybe, if he made the meeting at all. Okay, but what about Kyron Lacey and his family? I mean, that tragedy, what happened to him earlier this year, I mean, his family really would appreciate it if somebody from LSU left them high and dry without a word.
Shameful display!
Dude, what the actual fuck? I'm done joking around now. Do you really not care and you are just YOLOing your time in LSU for just the fucking money? At least pretend to give a fuck with this team. No PR company you hire with the millions you've made can fix this bullshit, you dumbass. In my opinion, all I see is a self-entitled brat that just wants everyone around him to do the hard work for him. Scott Woodward can't save your ass forever if you don't start winning. All of this bullshit can be kind of forgiven with a great season and a trip to the playoffs. LSU fans love winners after all, and besides, you have finally gotten your shit together for this campaign. Garrett Nussmeier looks like he will be the third LSU Heisman since 2019 with the way he's been slinging the ball this offseason. Did you see how he led the Tigers like Napoleon's army against Clemson in week 1? What do you mean he didn't play that great against L Tech? We still won 23-7. They were just a little feisty. Plus, our defense is finally put together as well. 5 interceptions against Florida? Oh yeah, we blew those damn Gators out all right. 20-10? That's it? I mean, a win's a win, but you should really be doing more damage than that, Tigers. 5 picks and the offense didn't capitalize on a single one with a touchdown. You should probably run the ball a little bit more effectively to help out the passing attack. Oh, wait, they can't run the ball? Okay, Coach, what's wrong with that offense?
We can run the ball. Did you see the last play of the game? That's all you need. You just need one. There's a ridiculous questions. And I'm getting tired of it. That football team just worked their tail off to get an SEC win, and you want to know what's wrong. You know what? You're spoiled. You're spoiled. This team is 17-1 at night. 17-1. Give them some respect. How about that? Give them some respect instead of micro-analyzing every little thing. This is ridiculous. For a group of seasoned reporters, that kind of question is so out of line.
I tell you, he's angry. He's angry.
I mean, if he says the rushing attack is fine, it probably is, right? I mean, even if it is a problem, it's not like slapping around Southeast Louisiana can't fix it. Now enjoy the break after that feast and get ready for the SEC grind. We got Ole Miss coming up in week 6. They ain't got nothing on LSU, baby. Go Tigers! So Trinidad Shameless, who is a mobile quarterback, was able to torch your defense for 385 yards and hand you your first loss of the season. Okay, hey look, it's the SEC. The competition's fierce and losses are bound to happen. Besides, he was a backup. They didn't really have time to prepare for him considering he didn't get the job until 2 weeks ago. Ain't no way we had enough game film on him. Nussmeier didn't play great, but he wasn't bad either. Just shake this loss off and let's go beat up on South Carolina. Yeah, we won, but is Nussmeier okay? He threw 2 touchdowns, sure, but also 2 interceptions. Not to mention we still haven't scored more than 24 points against an FBS team this season. Our defense might have improved, but we're not scoring enough to win most SEC conference games. It's not great, but you're getting better every week on defense. We may not be scoring more than 24 points, but our defense has not let anyone score more than 24 points as well. And that's not going to fucking change anytime soon. Wait a minute, we play Vanderbilt next? 31 points against Vanderbilt? What in the fuck is going on here, guys? Oh, wait a minute. Diego Pavia is a mobile quarterback that torched your defense for nearly 400 total yards of offense. You mean to tell me you still haven't figured out how to stop a mobile fucking quarterback? I mean, statistically, Nussmeier played well, but he was running for his damn life for half the game. That is strike 2 on the season, Kelly. You cannot lose again, or we will be out of the playoff hunt entirely. Fuck, you're probably already out of it now, but at least just compete, goddammit! You have a massive game against number 3 Texas A&M next week at home. Those red asses haven't won a game in Death Valley since the early 90s, and they ain't going to start now. If you lose again, some serious changes are going to need to be made. Don't fuck it up.
Hi, fellow Americans. I think we all know where this is going, so let's just skip to the end.
Mad. The problems last year and the year before that and the year before that never went away. LSU once again has the worst rushing attack in the SEC. No wonder Nussmeier got beat up during the game. A&M was bullying LSU so hard, they not only took their lunch money, but their iPhones and toilet seats as well. Who knew Tommy fucking Moffitt could lead the Aggies in the weight room as well as he has? Oh wait, maybe you did know this. On the bright side, you finally scored more than 24 points against an FBS opponent. You just had to wait until garbage time after being completely shut down in the second half. It was so over that the fans cleared out of Death Valley early and left the A&M fans behind to turn it into Kyle Field East as it looked more like a midnight yell practice than an LSU football game. The worst part about the last two defeats? Clark Lee, the head coach of Vanderbilt, and Mike Elko, the head coach of A&M, were both assistant coaches for Brian Kelly at Notre Dame. The students not only defeated the master, they beat his ass to death with a metal pipe. Now, with 3 losses for the year and the season being effectively over in terms of the playoffs, the cascade of criticism rained down on LSU like a Louisiana rainstorm. Fuck, even the governor of Louisiana is pissed, and his house is right down the road from the university. Woodward had no choice but to go talk to Coach Kelly and make changes now. The pressure from the boosters, the fans, and now the state government was just too great. People were getting fired for this collapse, but who was yet to be determined. Woodward wanted offensive coordinator Joe Sloan fired. Kelly countered, saying he wanted other coordinators fired, blaming them for the fiasco. Woodward disagreed. An argument ensued where the two men who had been driving this once proud football program on Tesla autopilot finally came to blows. It ended with Brian Kelly throwing deuces to the sky as he hopped in his car and fucked off after being fired. A $53 million buyout will now be paid to him per his contract, and Woodward must start over from scratch. Or will he? Scott Woodward isn't the only one that is interested in LSU's success, or in this case, interested in damage control. As a public university in the state of Louisiana, the business of the university is ultimately the business of the state government. And since LSU was without a university president, and it has a board of directors that are soft as a beignet, Governor of Louisiana Jeff Landry got involved. I don't have to explain why mixing sports and politics are a bad idea. It just is. But with the chaos of LSU football becoming a shitstorm, Governor Landry saw his opportunity to step in and make it a lot worse while saying he's actually helping. When he caught wind of the massive buyout LSU was on the hook for, he immediately said that LSU was going to negotiate for a smaller buyout and will end up not paying that much. Except it's guaranteed on Brian Kelly's contract, so of course they will still pay the full price. Enjoy wasting taxpayer money on paying for the lawsuit and the buyout. But just like Billy Mays, there's more to this than that. You act now, you get to see him publicly state that Woodward is not going to pick the next head coach of LSU, which immediately spoils the ending of this fucking story, with Scott Woodward resigning the night after he says this. By the way, that's another $6 million in buyout money LSU has to pay. Are we saving those taxpayer funds now, dipshit? I don't know what's going to happen to LSU from here. New athletic director Verge Osbury is going to lead the search for the next LSU head coach, but who in the fuck wants to come work at LSU when it's on fire like this? You can point to candidates like Lane Kiffin, James Franklin, Alex Golesh, John Summerall, and others, but when you have a university being used like a puppet by this motherfucker who's more worried about getting reelected than what's best for the university, anywhere other than LSU looks better in comparison. I've seen some real tire fires of football programs in my lifetime, but a football team imploding so hard that it decapitates the entire leadership structure of the school is baffling. The closest I can think of is the Penn State bullshit back in 2011, but that wasn't caused by poor performance on the field, but a sick bastard off of it. It genuinely pisses me off at how all this has gone down, and it should serve as a cautionary tale to all FBS programs going forward, especially in the SEC. Don't overpay your coaches. Do your fucking homework on your coaching hires and keep government and university as far apart as possible if you can. Was Scott Woodward an awful athletic director? If you look at the national titles won by LSU across all sports during his tenure, no. He did his job just fine in that regard, but look at the money. Sure, the revenue rose tens of millions of dollars, but somehow the athletic department is still millions in the red at the end of it, thanks in part to overpaying his damn coaches. Say it with me, kids. Money talks, bullshit walks. As for Brian Kelly, the man responsible for euthanizing the Tigers to begin with, I'm sure he's not sweating it at all. He will get his buyout money. He will not settle with the school because he doesn't have to. He doesn't need to coach another team for the rest of his damn life if he doesn't want to. Yet I suspect some desperate school is going to be begging him to come ruin their program next. I already felt this way before this season, but after going back and looking at everything in depth, he's a real piece of shit as a coach and as an individual, in my opinion. Fuck you, Brian Kelly. Take that $53 million buyout and shove it up your fat ass. LSU may not ever be the same again, and frankly, it couldn't have happened to a better university.